It really upsets me to talk about this team right
I
after
know.
Dallas and right before Philadelphia because, I mean, again, I had the Raiders last week and I got the Commanders this week. Are you guys just giving me the dysfunctional teams in the
You
NFL for
chose
fun?
this. You
I,
chose this. Or
I
this
did
might have been
choose
the
this.
last choice. I don't know.
You said that you were very intrigued to learn about the Commanders, Joe. That was why you chose them.
Yeah, I'm very intrigued to dive into this team a little bit, and after doing it, I'm not so intrigued. Terry McLaurin got a huge contract, and he's still somehow a bargain at what he got. I mean, thanks Christian Kirk, but 3 years, I think it was $71 million. That is awesome for him. They actually paid someone who deserved it on there. And the rest of the team is under investigation by Congress. That's pretty much the only news you have for this team right now.
I,
So last year they went 7-10. They released Landon Collins, Everett, the safety, Eric Flowers, and Matt Iodonis, and Brandon Scherf are all gone. They brought in Jahan Dotson. They brought in Brian Robinson, but outside of that, there is nothing too exciting going on here. Carson Wentz is your big addition for this team, and I mean he's got one last hurrah to prove he can do it here. It's really hard to get even the least bit excited about this one. Terry McLaurin is a hell of a wide receiver. And then you got Curtis Samuel and Jahan Dotson. They have a lot of wide receiver talent. When Logan Thomas comes back, when he's healthy, he should be the guy that Wentz kind of looks for. And then you got Antonio Gibson, J.D. McKissick. You have a lot here. I don't think Wentz can actually make use of these guys right now. So I'm not too excited. But don't draft Wentz. You can if you want, but in my opinion, I would not draft him. We got Antonio Gibson at running back. He's running back 24 right now, which is quite a value, but he is comically disrespected by his own team. He's an absolute stud, and they refuse to just let him have the job. He's one of the highest efficiency backs in the league. He is built like a workhorse, but we matched Buffalo's offer for J.D. McKissick and signed Brian Robinson. It doesn't look good. So Antonio Gibson, I really like him, and he is quite a value right now. A lot of people are scared off on him. Listen, the Commanders have a really good offensive line randomly. It is a hodgepodge, cobbled together group of players, but they gelled really well. And behind that line, Antonio Gibson can do a lot of damage. So I do like Antonio Gibson. I think his reception efficiency is going to drop off a little bit because we talk about it all the time. Carson Wentz cannot throw two running backs. So they drafted Brian Robinson. He is at RB 59 and J.D. McKissick is at RB 57. Brian Robinson is your handcuff for Gibson, nothing more. He's a hard runner, but I think he got away with more than he should have behind Alabama's line. So I'm not super high on Brian Robinson, but if you are cuffing somebody to Antonio Gibson, that is your guy. J.D. McKissick, he finished as RB 28. He's had two top 30 running back finishes in the last 2 years. So we should see a similar usage for him. I don't know if he's going to get as efficient as receptions as he did last year. So I'm not super high on McKissick, but he is good late in drafts as your fifth or sixth running back. Jarrett Patterson is there, but he is really tiny, and I don't expect him to do much. Your wide receivers, Terry McLaurin, absolute circus catches guy. Really happy for him. He got paid. He'll be very solid and could be spectacular if Wentz actually gets him the ball for once. Curtis Samuel, this dude is the ultimate wild card, but where there is smoke, there is fire, and the team, the coaches, the other players have been hyping him up all off season. We should get a fully healthy Curtis Samuel, and it will be really interesting to see what they can come up with in this offense for him. He's going really late. He's wide receiver 78. So I could think of far lower upside guys that are being drafted ahead of him. If you want to take a shot on him, it's a shot in the dark, but it could pay off in a big way. So Deshaun Dotson, he was a rookie out of Penn State, should step in right away and make his mark. But again, Wentz, I think, caps his ceiling. And they also have De'Ami Brown, who he looked okay last year in the couple of games. I still think he has some learning to do. Logan Thomas is going at tight end 26. Now, we know Carson Wentz loves tight ends. Unfortunately, he had his ACL, MCL, and meniscus repaired this offseason. So don't expect him to be 100% right away, but he's very sleepy where he's going in drafts right now. So if you draft a guy like Dalton Schultz early, we just talked about it, you could feel comfortable backing him up with Logan Thomas. At the end of the season, you should have a solid group there. Guys, what do you like on this offense? What do you hate? Let me know.
I don't do this on purpose, but man, I have so many arguments against you. This might actually take longer than the
This
Eagles.
is an Antonio Gibson manager talking.
No,
before we get to that.
Actually, it's Antonio Gibson's the one thing I don't disagree with. He's the most disrespected running back in that. Well, I don't know about that. Miles Sanders is up there, but no, honestly, I think that this is, and before you guys shoot me for this, this is the most well-rounded team that Carson Wentz has ever played on offense.
I won't argue with you there.
There is depth, there is talent, there is futures, there's like 3-4 running backs if you count Patterson. I mean, they don't even need him. The offensive line actually took a hit with Scherf and a couple other guys, but the offensive line's still not terrible. Logan Thomas, I mean, we're hoping he comes back. If Logan Thomas doesn't come back, I think it's a little less well-rounded. But these wide receivers, Terry McLaurin is one of the most hated on wide receivers. Antonio Gibson is one of the most hated running backs because of depth. Like they just have JD McKissick and that's and then they grab Brian Robinson. If they did one of those things, I wouldn't have been upset with Antonio Gibson's situation because it's good to have 2 running backs, but to have 3 and 4, and I mean, I guess you get deeper, there's probably more, but
so your argument here is that Wentz is better than we think he's going to be.
Yes, I do. I'm not saying draft him for fantasy football purposes. I'm just saying that I think he is actually a better quarterback. As a Carson Wentz hater, I hated him from the day we drafted him. I was happy when we shipped him off. I'm not saying Carson Wentz is good. I'm not going to be Billy and try to make a mountain out of a molehill with Baker Mayfield here. I'm just saying that Carson Wentz is not as bad as everyone thinks he is. They did not lose the Jaguars, or the Colts did not lose the Jaguars because of Carson Wentz only. That was a team loss. I'm letting you know that Carson Wentz is not that bad of a quarterback.
I just don't think he has the gumption to make these guys super fantasy studly.
Oh my god!
I mean, McLaurin's
that was solely his fault that they lost against the Jaguars.
I'm sorry, but did the defense not let up like 25, 30 points?
The Colts should have been able to easily beat the Jaguars on offense. Like, what are we talking about?
But they
had
didn't.
Jonathan Taylor. They had Michael Pittman. And I don't even know if
Michael Pittman was the only receiver on the team.
I don't even know if well-rounded is right. Like, what the receiving core has Terry McLaurin and what other reliable
Curtis
piece?
Samuel, Jahan Dotson, De'Ami
Curtis
Brown.
Samuel hasn't played in a year. Jahan Dotson's never played in the NFL before.
Yeah.
Okay.
Jahan Dotson's that's why I said talent and futures.
Okay. Well, you said depth too. You said well-rounded in depth. I feel like this is either he throws it to Terry McLaurin or we don't know what we're going to get with this team.
I'm not talking about, I wasn't talking about fantasy purposes. I made that clear. I'm saying in general, I think that Carson Wentz will have a better year than people expect. I'm not telling you to go draft Carson Wentz. Please don't do that.
So here's my thing with this team. I think you're going to have your weeks where the offense clicks really well and you have some high scoring weeks here. I also think you have some absolute duds from this offense out of there. So you're getting a ton of value on these guys right now. I mean, they're really essentially, aside from Gibson and McLaurin, even at their ADPs, they are steals, but these other guys, are absolutely free. So
I don't even know if Gibson's going to be, because the way they've been talking, and I know we're in Camp News Central right now with the whole third down back or the goal line back situation with Brian Robinson. It's just like that's just enough to scare me off from the whole thing entirely.
We would be doing a disservice to not talk about how we're all scared of Antonio Gibson's situation. Like,
I mean, I to take him as my RB2 and feel comfortable with it, it's just. I mean, I guess you're sitting in the same situation if you have like Kareem Hunt, for example. But
I'd be really happy with him as my RB.
I'd rather have Kareem Hunt, honestly.
I think I would too, because at least they're gonna commit to the run. In this situation, they may just go away from the run and let Carson Wentz throw for.
I don't think so. I think it's gonna be a lot more similar shades of Andy. Obviously, they don't have Jonathan Taylor, but they have a 3-headed backfield, and I think that's exactly what this is gonna be. I think Gibson's gonna be the early down back. And he's going to get like 70, 80 yards a game, probably. But the problem is he might not get any touchdowns. Like they said, they're probably going to use Brian Robinson in there. They're going to, that McKissic's going to take all of the passing opportunities away, which Joe is correct. He cannot throw to running backs. That's a real thing. I don't understand why.
Well, I actually looked it up because I knew we were going to do Carson Wentz tonight. And I saw last year he threw 80 passes to both Nyheim Hines and Jonathan Taylor. He completed 80 balls. So if we were to even get some of that towards the running backs, I think that might make them viable. McKissic will probably be the beneficiary of most of that. But
McKissic's basically a wide receiver, so yeah.
Right, but I don't think Antonio Gibson's completely out of the
only
woods.
Had one more reception last year than
Antonio Gibson.
So
I don't think it's completely towards McKissic. I don't know. Like I just feel like this team is not going to be scoring mountains of points every game.
I agree.
There's going to be plenty of 17-point weeks, and maybe one of those was a defensive touchdown, and we're not going to be shocked by that, I don't think.
So the cool thing about it last year was when McKissic went down, Gibson got the pass opportunities. Before that, it was 1, 2, 3 receptions, and then after it was 7, 6, 5. So he was getting those opportunities a lot more because there was no McKissic. So when McKissic went down, Gibson can catch the ball. I think what Washington's been doing is a safe approach with Gibson. They don't want to run him to the ground. They want to use him long term. That's why they're drafting these guys. But for fantasy football, it sucks. I mean, we could all agree with that. Like,
very much so.
And if it was just McKissic and Gibson, I'd be fine with it. But when they put Brian Robinson in there, I mean, it's just an extra piece to that scares me because I was already pissed off when they got McKissic back.
This already seems like a DraftKings. I will not be playing anybody from this offense except for McLaurin at any point. I don't think.
So when they play the Giants twice, you're not gonna jump on that?
What person on the team are you going to trust against the Giants? Like the whole team? Because I still think like those are going to be low scoring 17-10 wins.
I'm telling you, at the end of the year, when you start seeing Logan Thomas snap count go up, I like playing him in DraftKings a lot because he's going to be dirt cheap. You know, he's the guy you can probably pick up on waivers, but that is a Carson Wentz match made in heaven right there if there ever was one.
Zach Ertz was his best man in his wedding, so yeah. He's a tight end fan. He's a big fan of the tight end.
Logan Thomas was very useful. So
yeah, Logan Thomas is a phenomenal receiver.
Yeah.
Okay,
guys. So defense, real quick. Chase Young's returning from an ACL. He should be going to camp, but he probably won't be back to his old self for a while there. Montez Sweat and Jonathan Allen provided 14 sacks in Young's absence last year. Allen is super underrated if you're in defensive tackle leagues, even if you're in a DL league. You could throw him in there. He's been very valuable. Deron Payne skipped minicamp. He's waiting for a new contract. He's solid when he's on the field, but they drafted Phildarian Mathis out of Bama, and that should put some pressure on him and might even replace him with him, honestly. He's pretty damn good. So we got linebackers, Cole Holcomb. He's a stud. LB12 finish. He should return similar value to what we saw last year. But Jamin Davis, he kind of got thrown into the fire last year, and he's learning. So he only played 53% of the snaps last year. I expect a jump this year in that. And Cole Holcomb will be a free agent next year, and he's likely to get a lot of good money, and the Commanders are kind of mediocre, so I don't think they're going to match that. Now is a great time to buy shares of Jamin Davis. And lastly, we got Cameron Curl. He played 85% of the snaps last year, 6 weeks at 100% snap share. That's big time for his safety. And Landon Collins is gone, so I expect him to be near the line of scrimmage even more this year. He had 8 QB hits and 3 sacks over the past 2 years. So if his time there increases, watch out. You could just have a safety stud on your team. That's it.
I completely agree, honestly. My biggest thing is that secondary and those linebackers are going to be getting some work, so I'm fine with any of them. Chase Young has been more than a disappointment at this point. I think we can agree, right? Like everyone, I still think there's some talent in him. Honestly, to me, it's shades of Jadeveon Clowney. Like, yeah, he's going to have those 9 sack years, but it's going to be like we expected 15.
No, and I mean his rookie season was awesome, but it's just not been the same since then.
Yeah. Okay.
Not what it was.
We're all on the same page here.
Yeah, for sure. I do want to note Ron Rivera did say that Deron Payne is not in any danger of losing his job to Phildarian Mathis. That seems like the most Camp News smokescreen shit I've ever heard. So please keep Fedarian Mathis on your radar because he could become very valuable here closer to the season. He is a defensive tackle, so you have to kind of take that under consideration. But we watched him at the Senior Bowl, especially. I really like that kid. He's huge. I think that job could be in jeopardy. It seems weird Ron Rivera would say that in June. And I don't know. It just feels funny for some reason.
All right. Over under. What do we got on this?
The over under for the Washington Commanders is 8.
Under.
8 and 9 would be their final, according to Vegas.
I want to hear it before I make my
decision. I do want to hear it as well.
Jags, Lions, Eagles, Dallas, Titans, Bears, Packers, Colts, Vikings, Eagles, Texans, Falcons, Giants, 49ers, Browns, and Cowboys.
Damn it.
You said 8?
We got 8.
I was going to say, it started out
literally counted
okay.
8.
Got pretty rough.
They played the dumpster of the schedule. Like, some of those teams in there are going to be tanking this year. Like,
I'm actually going to go ahead and take the over. I think that if there's one team that wins this division that isn't the Eagles, it's Washington.
Really?
Well, I mean, the Cowboys obviously could, but
this is the like. I'm not a Carson Wentz homer like Baker Mayfield fan.
No, I think if things actually like I said, I like the depth that they have on this team. I like the amount of offensive weapons. It's really well built. It's just it all does come down to Wentz. You know what I mean? Like, and it does come down to can they beat the big teams. So.